So basically, they set out. They take this mermaid with them. They treat this mermaid like crap. Yeah, and she's really, really cute. Like, and they keep giving each other these looks, and eventually they get to the point where Blackbeard, of course, like the audience already knows that these two characters have somehow fallen in love with each other, even though they, just like every other character in cinematic history, in adventure movies at least, have known each other for less than like 10 hours. They've somehow fallen in love with each other because they've just seen that they're different, and I shouldn't be bashing this because I actually believe in like love at first sight and all that bullshit. But anyway, they fall in love, and this is by far the best part of the movie. This is the part I like the most, even though it's probably the most stereotypical. And somehow, and then Ian McShane's Blackbeard has to exposit how ooh, you fancy her. Let's see if she fancies you. Oh, she does! It's as like if there's anyone stupid in this theater not to realize that these two obviously love each other. And then a complex plan later, they pretend to kill him so she'll cry, and she doesn't cry, but then when he wakes up and he comes to find her, and he pretty much tells her that she has given him his faith back because he's lost his faith, but now he's found it because he's realized that there's hope for everyone. Some bullshit like that. Pretty much he believes in fairies now because he's met her. And then she cries, and then they take her to her, and they leave her there to rot, because they've left her in this weird tide pool that leads out to the ocean, but they've tied her there so she can't escape. Why? Because they're dicks. It's like, well, let's just let her go. No, we'll leave her here with her own kind. Why? You can just cut her go and cut her loose and let her swim into the ocean. No, that would be stupid. Obviously, we need to leave her here so that this can become a plot point later in the film. And I guess that's a big problem, is they leave her there, obviously so that Priest Guy can show his bad attitude when he escapes from the evil bastards and comes back to save her. And that's why they have to explain that these tunnels lead out to the ocean so we will know where they go off to at the end of the movie, because this is... I'm not even going to really explain too much more about the ending of the film, because it's pretty much the ending of Pirates of the Caribbean... Curse of the Black Pearl, only insert Fountain of Youth instead of Cursed Gold. But the reason why I really hate this movie is because they never fucking explain what happens to these two characters. At all. As I said, Priest Guy, when they finally get to the Fountain of Youth and everyone starts fucking and fighting with each other, basically it's the ending to Uncharted 2 mixed with like the Curse of the Black Pearl, where everyone's starting to fucking fight each other. The Spaniards come in, Barbossa brings his men, McShane's fucking pirate crew are all fighting each other, and they're fucking everyone over. Depp is farting around. He's fighting. He's fighting like everyone. Everyone's fighting everyone, and it's all boring because we've seen it before, and we don't care about anyone. So who fucking gives a shit? And also, by this point, Angelica has proven that she wants to kill, she's willing to kill Johnny Depp in order to get her father for a couple of extra years. Ian McShane later explains that he'd kill even his own daughter to get more years himself. Everyone's an asshole. Everyone's a fucking pirate. Why do we care about these people? The only two people I care about is the mermaid and the guy who, and also, of course, the priest who gets stabbed in the gut. He becomes, I guess, mortally wounded or something because he takes a fucking blow right down here, but stumbles away into the forest and collapses next to her, and she's lying there being dehydrated because her upper body is stuck to a fucking tree. He managed to cut her free, pretty much explain once again that she's given him his faith back. She says that she can save him, but he has to ask for it, and he says that he asks for forgiveness. She kisses him and pulls him into the tide pool, and they both swim away to the ocean. And they leave a much better plot untold because we have to focus on Jack being quirky again. Yeah, I guess I've been doing this review too long because I have no real desire to keep explaining the plot of this movie. Because, basically, as I said, McShane proves that he is willing to let his daughter kill herself to get her years, because even though she's his daughter, he would rather live longer than know that she lived the full extent of her life. Johnny Depp is an asshole too, because he can't even commit to a relationship, even though he admits that he loves her at the end, and because the producers are scared of changing his character. Penelope Cruz gets pissed off and is left alone on a stranded on a small uninhabited island. And the post-credit scene, which no one stayed to watch except for me and like three other people, shows her finding finding a little Jack Sparrow voodoo doll, which has been in the film as sort of like a funny thing, explaining, of course, that it's not over. She's got control over Jack yet. And you know what? I'll go see another movie if they make it. What really just bothers me about this movie is that the plot is a repeat of what we've seen before, but not executed as well. The characters are unlikable to the most extent, except the new characters and some of the supporting old characters who don't get enough room in this story because we still haven't focused on Jack, the one character who is not developed at all beyond what he was when he first entered this franchise 4 movies ago. And I know that a lot of people are okay with that, and I guess that's what bothers me the most, is the fact that people don't want this character to change, and I don't understand why, because he should. He'd be more interesting if he changed. The entire franchise would be more interesting if he could just evolve a little bit. And when he straight up at the end of the movie runs away as soon as he's about to evolve, it makes me just feel, you know what, I don't care about you. It also makes me feel cheated because you put in a new love story that was more impressive, at least like on the surface, than the old one, because she's a mermaid, he's a man. Her entire species spent like a good 5 to 10 minutes killing these sailors. And there's a scene where Barbossa's like English ship lands where the Blackbeard ship landed, and the entire ship gets sunk by mermaids. And like all these mermaids are really vicious and evil creatures, and I'm just wondering, isn't that a more interesting story to tell? A story of this one mermaid who apparently seems to really love a human, and the human's love for her? That's the story I want to hear, and maybe I'm alone in that, but I honestly think that should make a standalone movie by itself, and hopefully, if they make another movie, that should be the thing that takes focus, not Jack, I'm played by Johnny Depp, who got paid over a quarter of this movie's budget for this role. He got paid $55.5 million. This movie had a budget of $200 million. Can you imagine getting paid a quarter of what it costs to make a movie by yourself? That is disgusting. Anyway, I should calm down. I need to go to bed. I'm tired. I've explained my problem with this movie. This movie's going to make more money than probably any other movie this summer. And that's really sad because this movie is not as good as Thor, which I saw in Thor wasn't really that good either. It's certainly not as good as, say, Fast 5, which is not going to make this much money. I bet that Green Lantern, Captain America, and even Transformers would actually be at least more memorable than this movie, because honestly, having to remember all this in my head, it has been kind of a chore. I myself might sit down and write some fanfic trying to explain like what happens to the mermaid. I guess you should drop their names, Philip and Serena, because they are the most interesting characters and they are not used well. I guess that's it. Go see it if you want to. If you liked At World's End, you will like this. If you like the other movies just for Jack Sparrow, you will like this. But if you're looking for a more like fleshed out story, you're not going to get it. You're going to get a 2-hour movie that's filled with at least 40 minutes of padding in different parts, with action scenes that are too long and characters that don't develop enough. But that's my more than 2 cents, and I shall return when I talk about another movie. Bye.